What's up, YouTube? It's the Mudface coming at you again on August 23rd. This will be posted later. This is a video re-record because YouTube decided that me having a link in my description was me trying to sell firearms. YouTube, I do not sell firearms. I do not sell anything dangerous. In fact, I help promote stuff to plug holes. RefugeMedical.com. Enter code MUDFACE in all caps into that coupon code box. Use the link in the description and get yourself 10% off. Right now they also have 30% off all training. So, yeah, go to school. So this video comes from a theory that I have had for quite some time, and it might be a little conspiratorial. Water. I just reshot my video on what's your water plan, so it only seemed logical to follow that video with this video. In today's day and age, we have record droughts. We have a good chunk of North America and Canada are suffering from drought, multi-year droughts. We have Europe in a drought. We have record historic storms and historic flooding. I mean, Texas has been hit twice in the last few years with just devastating floods. So I'm trying to figure out, why is so much of the world experiencing these droughts? Panama's in such a bad drought right now, they're limiting traffic through the Panama Canal because they don't have enough water to fill the locks. So, my theory, and I've got some not anecdotal, some information that helps support my theory. We'll put it that way. Just setting this up. Okay, so how many severe droughts were there in the United States in the 40 years previous to 1996? And per www.google.com Gemini, in the 40-year window before 1996, the United States experienced 3 major widespread severe drought episodes, highlighted by the multi-year mid-50s event, the 76 to 77 Western drought, and the massive 87 to 1990 drought, which affected 36% of the country. In fact, if you go back to 1936, there are only Thank you, Wood. Motorcycle on the road, dog barking. 5 between 1936 and 1996. That does include the Dust Bowl. Okay, so how many droughts in the 40 years since 1996? And I'll get to why 1996 is important in just a moment. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, NOAA, their billion-dollar weather and climate disasters, there have been 22 multi-billion-dollar drought and heat wave events recording nationally across the United States in the multi-decade period starting from 1996. So the criteria may be slightly different, but it still says there's 5 from 1936 to 1996. There's 22 from 1996 to 1926. Well, why is 1996 the cutoff? Let me make sure I get this worded correctly. I filmed this. I had this all memorized a couple weeks ago when I recorded it the first time. And I lost my notes. So, in 1996, there was the Telecommunications Act of 1996. It was the first major overhaul of U.S. telecommunications law in over 60 years. It was signed by President Clinton on February 8th, and its primary goal was to deregulate markets and open local telephone, long-distance cable, and broadcast markets to open competition. The other thing it did is, I had to narrow it down a little bit. And I'll get to why this is all important. It earmarked a lot of federal money and federalized some of the zoning on building out our cellular network. So basically from 1996 until whenever the build out kind of slowed down, which would probably be 2016, which actually probably even longer than that because they keep having to upgrade it for the new technology. So starting in 1996, the federal government started throwing money at these companies to build out the cellular network because they said, hey, cellular communication is going to be the future. And they're right. So in 1996, cellular communication and cellular towers become big. So what do cellular towers do? They emit radio frequency radiation out into the ether. These range from roughly 700 megahertz to 47 gigahertz. So 700 megs to 47 gigahertz radiation coming off these towers, and they're everywhere. You can't drive 5 miles down the road without seeing some sort of a cellular tower, unless you're way out west or deep like South Texas, that kind of thing. Although there are still all over there as well. Okay, so these towers are emitting this radiation. Some of that radiation, ranging from 300 megahertz to 300 gigahertz, is also what we call microwave radiation. Now, why is that important? You might ask. Well, what does microwave radiation do to water molecules? So the radiation, up and down, up and down, up and down, it hits these water molecules, and it causes them to start rotating. It's ionizing the atom so that the electrons start spinning. Well, this super excites them, and they start bouncing around off of the other water molecules, who are all doing the same thing. Well, all this bouncing off of each other, it's going to create friction. And friction creates heat, That warms up because there's friction. That is how microwaves heat up food. They penetrate the food, they activate the water molecules into that violent spinning. The friction heats the food up from the inside out. Basic high school physics type explanation. So these cell towers are emitting microwave radiation into the ground and into the air. If they make your food hot, aren't they going to make the ground hot? The water in the ground? They're going to make the air hot? The water in the air? They're going to heat up the lakes and the rivers with water in there? Could that be why we're experiencing global warming? I don't know. You tell me. The other thing that happens when water warms up is it evaporates. It goes up into the air. And it pulls up in the atmosphere until it gets cool enough and heavy enough to fall as rain. Well, now we might have an answer as to why we're seeing so many historic rainfalls and historic floods. Because the historic droughts happening everywhere else, all that water's falling in these other places. I'm no scientist. I'm just a guy who sells windows and decking and doors. I have a high school education, a couple of years of college. But I look at things with a pretty logical mind. I was pretty good in high school physics. Despite missing like 30 days of class, I still had an A. Graduate of the GATE program. So I'm not an idiot. Yeah, so it's just a theory. I have no evidence to back it up. I haven't done anything to do any experiments and run it through the scientific method. But when you stop and look at the basics of it, cell phone towers are emitting radiation. Some of that radiation is microwave radiation. Microwave radiation heats up water, causes evaporation and warming. Could I be onto something? I guess we'll never know, because they'll never tell us the truth. It's a mud face. Get what you need.